Dear audience, good evening. My name is Juliana Muska and I am a new coordinator of KineDok program, and we are very happy that you are here. I would like to just say that this whole discussion is going to be in English, so everyone who needs a headset, you can find them right there behind the door. And in general, like this event will be moderated by Paul Rieth, and we are very happy that you are here. I will give you the word and you will introduce us our three guests. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, good evening, everybody. So, I'm very happy to invite you to today's session. It runs under the title Reaching the Next Audience Distribution Strategy for Young Audiences. And I think it's really important that we start with a strong look into what actually happens in practice and works in practice. And that's why we ran the show or scheduled the show in a way that we will start with three introductions, three presentations by our amazing panelists to give us a bit insights into what actually happens out there. How can you work with young audiences? How can you get them? What initiatives are there? What projects are there? And I think that's a good start to start our discussion. And of course, thanks to KineDok for the invitation, also for setting up the stage, because I think it's really important to think beyond the cinema, the traditional distribution spaces, and that's what KineDok is doing, and I find this highly impressive. So we start with the first presentation. It's by Radka Hoffman, who is a researcher, but also the head of industry and international relations at the organization Crouton, which we are going to hear more about in a second. And she is also the head of industry of Beau Short Film Festival. And I'm really curious to hear what you can share with us in the field of audience research on young audience. So give a hand to our first panelist, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I will be very quick with the presentation, so then we can dive deeper, more, or like dive deep into discussion about like more interesting topics that bother us. So yeah, so Paul already like introduced me, but I will very quickly say that I very recently received my PhD just 2 weeks ago, and took me only like 10 years. So I think that's something. And my focus was on contemporary European film for youth in the context of the film festivals and the film institutions. And I was working with the age group like 13 plus. That was for me like youth, but we will discuss it a bit more like later in the discussion. I'm also the board member of European Children's Films Association, which is the biggest association connecting festivals, producers, and institutions in Europe. And also head of industry and international relations at Crouton, which I will tell you a bit more what we are doing here in Prague or also internationally. And yeah, I'm also occasional curator. Oh, I'm sorry, always forgetting. Okay, so we are Prague-based cultural association with a strong focus on young audiences, film and audiovisual education, and audience development. So these are like some of our projects. Like one is the Kino Kavalírka, which is the cinema here in Prague at Prague 5 that we run independently. And then we organize Beau International Short Film Festival, which is the festival that started to exist because of the two festivals that we were organizing before. One was focusing on the young audiences, Young Film Fest here in Prague, and the other one was focusing more like on grown-up audiences, but also with some parts for younger audiences, which was Elbedog. And the festival took place at Ústí nad Labem region, which is the western part of Czech Republic, and in Dresden in Germany. Then we run Young and Short, which is the distribution project of short film programs for young audiences, and I will tell you a bit more about that because I was thinking that it might fit the best to our topic. Then we are like one of the partners of the Cine, which is amazing European project of early childhood film education, 3+. So even like that young audience is important, I think. And then we have a Crouton Lab, where we have like these kind of projects that we are focusing. Audiovisual Center, which was focusing more like on the industry events, networking, conferences, workshops, etc. Not only on the younger audiences, but a lot. Then we have the new project, Audiovisual Connect Lab, that got support of Creative Europe Media in the strand of film education and audience development, and we started this year. And the growth of the project is testing, measuring, and developing of film literacy of the students of 15 to 19 years old, and also the teachers, because we need data to do something about film education and like to have something in our hands in the lobby work. Then we do Visegrad Audiovisual Lab, which is the platform for our partners in the Visegrad countries, where we focus on audience development again and film education. And we were part also of the FilmEd, which was the European film education project that ended last year. But the website of the FilmEd with methodologies is still available, of course. So these are very briefly like our goals, as I already mentioned. So it's like to develop film and audiovisual literacy that we strictly distinguish from the media literacy, which what is kind of important, I think. And audiovisual is also video games and short videos. So I think like it's quite important to use like these specific terms. Yeah, and that you can like read. It's not that interesting. And now I will go to this project that I love very much. Young and Short is the short film program distribution project for 3 age groups, 3 to 7, 12 to 14, and 15 to 19 years old. And the idea is like of the peer-to-peer principle. So me and my colleagues, like as a curators, so we are pre-selecting like 10 short films, European short films mainly, or co-productions for the target groups. And what we are always trying, but it's very difficult like with the younger ones, but I will tell a bit more about the teenagers, which are like my, I don't know how to say that, I like them the most. I'm trying, and my colleagues are also trying to put like all kind of formats and films in these pre-selections. So animation, documentaries, or anecdotes, fiction, whatever. And then we have like very interesting day in our cinema that we are watching all 10 films with the focus group of like young curators in the same age as the target audience is. And then they are selecting the 5 final films that will be screened in the cinemas here in Czech Republic and in the school screenings. And then we are also developing some materials to it. So I think like regarding the distribution, this is like one of the way like how to work with the young audiences, that to activate them and also like to give them the voice and power to decide what they want to watch. And that's all from me from this moment, and I will be happy to meet my beautiful colleagues in our panel.
Thank you so much, Radka. So I think it's very incredible to see what kind of activities are actually happening there, how much you try out, how much you experiment, how much you work actually with young audiences, and I think that's something we are going to think about and also talk about a bit later on our panel. So now I'm happy to introduce Magdalena Żelasko on the stage. She is the founder of the Let's See Festival, and she is the initiator of the project EU Youth Cinema Green Deal, which is supporting 12 countries. And I'm happy to have you here, and we are looking forward to have your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dobry wieczór. I would like to start with the first trailer so you will have something to see before I come to the stage. Yes, so this is the first project I would like to introduce you tonight. It's project supported by the Creative Europe Media, also in the field of audience development and film education. It was already supported twice, and this time we covered 12 countries. We have 5 partners in Ukraine, Slovenia, North Macedonia, and 2 in Austria. And our project is the strongest one in Ukraine, when currently over 400,000 students and teachers are taking part. And this is the only country when we offer this in the streaming dimension. It was officially recommended by the Educational Ministry. It's developed by our partner Innovation Generation, Innogen, and they are doing really great. And in Slovenia, we work with Association EPECA. It's association mainly dedicated to people from marginalized societies, to Roma, to unemployed people. And they provided a series of cinema screenings in 7 Slovenian cities, and every time they reached per screening 300 young people. Sometimes they were so overbooked that they had to offer 2 screenings at one day. And now, for the first time, we haven't received the support from the European Union. I completely understand it. It was not that we were I don't know, that we were bad prepared, but the money is it's not that big. There are a lot of great projects, and yes, I understand it should be a kind of rotation, so we hope that maybe in 2 years we will have another chance. But still we will develop it with private sponsors, and it was, as you and it was visible on the screen. We had a lot of smaller and bigger private sponsors. The biggest one is Vienna Insurance Group. Yes, and I will tell more about this project. Now I would like to present second trailer. It's my film, by the way. I directed and produced and even distributed my own film, which I would like to present you now.
Die meisten Gedenkfeiern müssen mittlerweile ohne Zeitzeugen stattfinden. Jene, die noch da sind, sind mittlerweile schon sehr alt.
Aber einige sammeln immer wieder ihre Kräfte, um aus erster Hand zu erzählen.
W Guzen 1, w Guzen 2. Byłem świadkiem kary śmierci za stosowanie się do zasad wyznawanej religii, z zabijania w obozowym szpitalu chorych więźniów przez więźnia funkcyjnego.
Jak obejrzymy obrazki byłych więźniów, no to widać po prostu. No to jest układ kostny obciągnięty skórą. Każdy ważył te kilkadziesiąt kilogramów, a mimo to robiono na tych więźniach pewne doświadczenia i chodziliśmy do pracy. Ja jako więzień musiałem produkować narzędzia i maszyny do zabijania drugiego człowieka. No przecież z punktu widzenia moralnego, no to jest rzecz, prawda, dla mnie, no jakoś taka, no nie do połączenia. Ja pracowałem tutaj na stanowisku, na którym żeśmy nitowali elementy składowe do kadłubów samolotów.
Okay, and I forgot to say that the first project, the Youth Cinema Green Deal, is dedicated to to students and teachers from 10 years old and even 19 plus are taking part. And the second film was officially recommended as a film about a war witness, about culture of remembrance for young people from 14 years and older, but also suitable for already 12 years old, because we don't have so many. We don't have any like brutal pictures, but the most brutal true is this what Mr. Stanisław Zalewski is talking about. He became a good friend of mine. He is now 101 years old and he's still working. He's very active. He's coming to Vienna from time to time. And why I'm talking about this film? Because we invented a really nice format for young people, because maybe one comment. He has like a Polish-Austrian history, because he was in Auschwitz and also in Nazi concentration camps in Upper Austria. And this is the first long film about his story. And it took 3 years with really low budget, but we succeeded to finalize it. And first he came to Vienna from time to time, twice a year, and talked to people after the screening, to young people. And one day he felt not that healthy, and then there were like 1,000 young people. They ordered already the tickets, and then we invented that we can talk actually with him on the screen using Zoom. So his son helped him with this, and he was able to see the audience in the camera. And suddenly it was our runner. So we actually 7,000 young people in Austria took part at this format. They were able to talk to Mr. Zalewski after the screening, or maybe sometimes later also at school. And he always tells it keeps him very young to exchange with young people. And when they ask him how he feels now when he's like 100 years and older, he say he feels like a newborn. So yes, it's definitely something what gives him new power to make a different project, and he actually works on different projects too. And he would love to make another film, but I think I don't have these resources now, because this is why I come now very shortly to a third project, which I will make from June 1st. And I think now, what can I say now, because it will be announced during a press conference. But this is a beautiful cinema in the heart of Vienna. It is called Cinema Urania, and it belongs to the Cineplex group. And it was taken over 30 years ago, and it rather didn't have a program. So it had program, but it was not that specific program what you can expect from Europa Cinema's member. So no discussions, no Q&As, sometimes premieres, of course, and films with subtitles, but quite basic. And we used to make our film festival in the cinema with a great opening and award ceremony. and I already met in audience some good friends of my festival. So now the festival was closed or paused before the pandemic, and now we are back with the concept of presenting in the cinema films from Central and Eastern Europe and also Austrian films. And we would like to bring this festival feeling into the cinema. So you can see this, it's a building with also a great cafe, and also there is behind this building another room like theater hall, and it's really great. And now we are very excited to bring a new life from Central and Eastern Europe to the cinema to present best films, invite guests. And maybe one day we also would welcome you among our audience, because we will play a daily program starting from 6 p.m. So 2 or 3 films every day. Yes, and it was actually, I think, my last picture. So yes, I think I never measured the time, but I think it's time for the next guest, next panelist.
Thank you so much, Magdalena. So now, last but not least, we are coming to Katharina Bergfeld. It's a Berlin-based producer working with several production companies, also with Maya D from Leipzig, and produced several films for the young audience, also the IDFA awarded Circus Boy, and I'm happy to have you here with us. So give the stage to Katharina. Hello.
Thank you. Hi, nice to see you, nice to be here. Is it me? No. Yeah, I don't have a big presentation actually. I'm here to talk mostly about Circus Boy. I'm Katharina, I'm a producer based in Leipzig and Berlin, as Paul said. I've produced 3 feature-length children documentaries, and this is why I'm here, I guess. The first one was Glitter and Dust. It just came out after the pandemic, or in the pandemic, so it was a bit like drowned into the closed cinema time. But it's still a beautiful film about 4 young girls doing rodeo in the US. The same directors I did Circus Boy with. Then there was the second film, it's called 1 in a Million, by another female director, about 2 young girls between 9 and 16 who are fan and influencer on YouTube. That is their relation, so it's a digital relation about 2 girls. And the third one is Circus Boy, that is currently still in the festival run and in the distribution phase. And I have brought the trailer for you, the cinema trailer, which is in German with English subtitles, which I'm happy to show you, so you have a bit more of an idea about the film. And then afterwards I will go a bit more into detail how this film performed, where did we release it, and a bit talking a bit more about the positioning of the film. So let's see the trailer.
Ich will dir mal was sagen, mein lieber Junge. Es ist langsam an der Zeit, dass du dich überlegen tust, was du in die Manege zeigst. Denn jeder unserer Familie muss etwas tun, worauf man stolz ist.
Mhm. Ich hab Fieber.
Hereinspaziert!
Tachchen, ich bin Santino. 10 Jahre alt, aber nicht mehr lange.
Wir sind Arbeiter, wir sind Artisten, wir sind Musiker. Wir bauen auf, wir bauen ab, wir machen alles.
Leviosa! Lumos!
Und wie ist das für dich, wenn du jetzt ständig in eine neue Schule kommst?
Es ist schon schwer, immer auf eine andere Schule zu gehen, weil ich immer zu einer anderen Stadt reise.
Wie viele Jahre musst du noch reisen?
Mein ganzes Leben lang.
Sie haben keinen festen Wohnsitz.
Ganze Leben.
Dann machen meine Kinder das und dann ihre Kinder.
Und dann bist du irgendwann Opa Santino. Ja.
Ich liebe dich. Komm in meine Arme.
Schnick, schnack, schnuck. Schnick, schnack, schnuck. Ja!
Das habe ich mir hierbei gedacht. In meinem nächsten Leben gehe ich nicht nochmal zum Zirkus.
Oh, das ist eine Geschichte. Das ist eine wahre Geschichte.
Erzähl mal.
So yeah, what happened with the film? We started at Berlinale Generation last year in February, and since then we had a really, really nice run through like over 50 festivals in 25 countries, and we got some awards, and one of them was beautifully enough the IDFA award, which we got at Berlinale, the Documentary of the Year award, which was really, really nice. And now it looks like, wow, this film made it so far, but in Germany we have like 20,000 viewers, which is awesome, and in the same time it's just not too much. It's still like where you feel like the audience could be so much bigger. It's a lot of work. Each like every single viewer is it has to be worked on. Every single cinema where it runs is an achievement. So we and the distributor and the sales company are really working hard to bring this film out. And I have to say, like internationally, it mainly performed at festivals. And now we are going into the educational brand, but it hasn't been sold like theatrically, for example. So that is also like where a film like for kids that is more indie production, that is not a fiction, that is less commercial, but still like we really worked on the like on the whole storytelling. We have beautiful animations where you just saw tiny bits of it. So it's really crafted and worked through with a lot of love, and the audience, wherever we present the film at children's film festivals or in the theater when we had our cinema tour, the audience loved the film. So they appreciate the love that we put into the film. And I think it's really rewarding to work for kids and bring them something that the market, in my eyes, is not really providing for the young audience and the children. There's a big commercial market and a family entertainment market, which there are also a few very nice, lovely productions out there. But I feel like the market for young audiences could be so much more diverse. Like there are missing different colors, different narrational styles, documentaries. Kids appreciate documentary and real people and real emotions and something that that exists. For them it's like, what, this person exists, I can meet, like it's really their life, this grandpa is the real grandpa. So there is this love for documentary, I feel, in young audiences, and a connection to a less dramatized narration also. So there is an appetite. I feel the appreciation is huge when we have screenings, and I want to encourage everybody to offer this audience like more than there is, more diversity, and I think they give you back so much love and appreciation that it's very satisfying and rewarding also to work on a film for young audiences and distribute them and make something that I feel can make a difference also with educating and bringing onwards this new audience. How can they love documentaries and cinema if they are not learning to love them in a way? So one slide, the PDF, let's see if I get it. Yes. That is when with our World Stage Pluto we started to discuss like how do we position this film. Children documentary, no one waits for it. It's like something that is always in the niche of, wow, that's boring, oh, that wants to teach me something. So it has something educational that has a boring taste when you just hear it's a documentary. So we tried to avoid the documentary label in the first place. As you see here, we tried to position it as a family and children film among the other family and children films. So it's not in the first place a documentary. And it helps us, like if people like it, and then we can say, yeah, it's a documentary, it's real people, it's a real story. We followed them for over a year. Then they can appreciate it. But if you start with the documentary, that was our experience, and just approach to bring it out was like it's too much the broccoli effect. Some kids told me like documentary, it's like it's too healthy. It doesn't taste good. So you have to avoid to go too deep into this effect before even giving the film a chance. And this is how we positioned. And so far, I think everybody is quite happy with the positioning, that this is how it worked out. And we don't discuss too much that it's a documentary in the beginning and in the marketing. So, and then we can go deeper in our discussion and hear your thoughts and questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's stay on the stage and let me invite our other two great panelists with me. So I think each of us has a microphone. So thanks for all these presentations. I think that was a really nice look into the practice and what is actually happening in this field. I have a question to the audience. Who of you, and because I've looked at you a bit, and I have the feeling you're also a young audience, so who of you is below 25 years old? Could you raise your hand? Okay, that's quite a few of you. So, and maybe that lets me start with a question, because I think, Radka, you started already with the question, who is actually the young audience? So would you share a bit with us how you cluster them, how you look at them, what might be also differences when you try to approach them? To start with a very simple question.
Yeah, so that we can talk about this in hours. But basically, what I found as young audiences for my thesis was 13 plus, as I already mentioned. But that's not very usual, because when we are talking about young audiences, most of the festivals or institutions, distributors, etc., are thinking of 12 plus to, let's say, like 19. And then you have like young adults. And the reason why I decided to focus a bit more on the 13 plus was that I think that the 13 is really the threshold. It's like this liminal age of experiencing something else. That's not that I want to say that 12 years old are childish. That's not my point. But I think that there is something happening in the 13th year of life of the person. And there are different opinions on this, that like when I dive deep into like psychology or sociology, or law or other like sciences, they are like thinking of this age of young people or like youth like very differently. So I think it's nice to say that we are talking like 12 plus. And the question is if we count young adults there. So I don't really know.
Okay, so that's, I think, a good start for this conversation. So when we are speaking about young audiences, we are talking 12 plus. So maybe we can hand over to... How do you actually tackle your young audience? Can you tell us a bit?
Maybe I will talk about the first project, this Green Cinema, because this was a very special concept, and because it was supported by the European Union, we were able to offer our program completely for free in both dimensions, the streaming and the cinema events. And it was not that challenge to bring audience to the cinema, because we learned a lot. In the first year, we had quite a depressing films, because it was our, maybe not mistake, by learning by doing. I was pushing the approach that the film have to educate, and of course a lot of film about climate change are very catastrophic. You see these ice blocks and so on. And then we started to keep this educational approach, but to only or mainly choose films giving hope, and to the films that present solutions, and not to leave young people even more depressed than they are when they watch news and hear the radio. So yes, and it was very good actually. After every film, we have discussion, sometimes with filmmakers and sometimes with other invited guests, and we try to keep this community still very active. And we invite also some quizzes and challenges for them. So yes, and as mentioned, Ukraine is a very special case, and I'm very happy that we were able to help with our program there. Because it is a fixed part of the education, and it was also good in almost every country except of few teachers that were too lazy to register online, and so we lost the contact to them. But still, yes, it was easier. For the another film, Ambassador of Remembers, it was quite a challenge because we didn't found a distribution company, but we own as an association our own small company. And it was sending of letters to every school, and of course the tickets cost €6.50, but still it was also not that bad. And yeah, for Urania the question is out of question, because when you program only from 6 p.m. you cannot really reach that young audience. But thanks to the collaboration with Cineplex Group, which has a lot of cinemas across Austria, I will be able also to include films like maybe yours into the distribution. So definitely we are looking forward to make something, to make a difference.
Okay, so let me ask, maybe this goes to Radka again. When we are talking distribution for a young audience, what spaces are we actually talking about? Are we talking about mainly cinemas? Are we talking also alternative spaces? You seem to experiment with this quite a bit. Can you give us a bit of the setting you operate in?
Yeah, I would say that mostly it's cinema, especially with the school screenings, as the school screenings giving the admission numbers, but also alternative spaces. And not that much online, because like when young people want to watch something online, is usually not a European documentary or like some indie film. So they're mostly the series. And like what it's quite important that a film is still considered by young people as like a social event. So even when it's like related to like younger ones, the kids, they watch it with the family and then watch it with friends, etc. But like with the TV series, it's more like a lonely thing. So they watch it online, and that's the same like with the short videos and TikTok and all the like social media platforms that they consume.
Mm-hmm. And let me come to Katharina, because I find it so interesting that we now have a bit of the whole life cycle of a project and of a film here on the stage. So you select projects and you get the financing and you get them done. Tell me a bit how you scout and what makes it different from scouting films for a younger audience than maybe for older audience, and what makes it maybe also special in producing them.
Yeah, it was also a learning process for me, because the first film, Glitter and Dust, that I mentioned, we started producing in 2017, and the filmmakers were not dedicated in doing a film for a young audience. They were really reluctant. They didn't want to end up in this box of doing films for kids. You know, it feels like, I want to be a real filmmaker. It was their second feature film. And that was a bit like, it still felt like a paradox, because the first film they just did it on young girls. And it happened that the whole market, the festivals, the school screenings, they took the film as a children's film, because there's so little documentary productions out for young audience and kids, that whatever is there, if you intend or not, they will take it and use it, because it's like, there's too little choices. So, and this happened to another film of mine. We didn't think about doing it as a young audience film, but it happened because the market is thirsty for it. So you get this label if you want or not, if it's somehow suited for the audience. So And then throughout the years, I started to appreciate it because it's a niche. Yes, it's a niche, but it's great to be identifiable and to have something most people are not doing on purpose. So I started to feel it as a strength instead of a weakness. And where in the beginning we had like just the financial strategy of financing it as a children's films because we had a fund in Germany for that. And the last one we said, no, let's really sit proudly on that niche and that label because we are proud to produce for young audience and kids. And this is what we did with Circus Boys. So it's a learning curve in how to involve young audience and involve the audience in the production, get feedback early on. I mean, we also have our kid in front of the camera, so we were really always involving also the audience in the project. I think there are different examples of films and stories where sometimes you tell something, like in your case, with a very old person, but you want to have it for a young audience. So it's different if you have a kid in a film for a young audience. So those are different approaches, but I think it helps if you have this decisive goal to say, I want to produce for them, I want to tell stories for them, because your mindset will change. And I feel it just makes the project stronger because it will be used for this niche anyway, but happily, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I find it interesting. Sure.
Sorry.
Please, go ahead.
I just forgot to mention that the film festivals are, of course, like the most important part of the ecosystem and the chain, because they are mostly, the films that are produced for young audiences are mostly screened at the festivals and are not in the theatrical distribution in many cases. So I just wanted to add this, sorry.
Okay, no problem. So I find this interesting that you as producer, you also seem to test. While you produce already with a young audience, you also mentioned the idea of focus groups with young audience. Tell me a bit about this. So when does that happen? Who is involved? Who selects the attendees of such a focus group? And how do you practice this?
Yeah, so that as I mentioned, that it's happening in our own cinema, which is like small independent boutique cinema with very nice vibes. So I think that also helps that children, young audiences, but even adults, but they feel really safe there and they really like the environment. We have armchairs, and everything is super cozy. So it really works well with the young audiences. So I think that's like one thing. And then we usually have like open call that we are publishing on our social medias. We are communicating through our newsletters. We are reaching out to schools and teachers who are active, that if students would be interested into something like that, that they should send them to us. And then as a part of recruiting, let's say, that we have the questionnaire at the beginning with a few of questions, like what was the last film that you liked a lot, or like tell us a bit about something that impressed you in the cinema recently, or something like this, like very not that easy questions, but like not also that difficult, but that's like these questions are telling us like if the child or teenager is like interested into it, and like how does he or she is thinking about the cinema and films, and like if there is the passion or like interest.
Mm-hmm. Talking about communication and marketing, I think it's and that can go to each of you, but also maybe to you, Magda. How do you actually reach the young audience? Because I assume that when we are talking 13 plus, they don't have this real free decision. It needs to go via some kind of catalyzer. That can be an institutional partner, it can be a parent, it can be a social worker, it can be an institution. So tell me a bit about the flow of communication to really get the young audience.
In our case, for some project, it was about young audience and also teachers, because this is also a group which is hard to convince, because there are a lot of films in portfolio. In our case, for example, for my film, media work helped a lot, because this Mr. Stanisław was a kind of forgotten person. He experienced a lot. He's last witness of this camps in Austria, and one of the last from that Nazi camps in Auschwitz. And still, he was not really covered by press when he came to Austria. He came like a more or less almost private person. And suddenly also this film helped to discover him. And in the beginning, one young girl in the audience asked him if ever someone from Austria said to him sorry or gave him something, and he answered no, but I don't really need it. And then suddenly, thanks to this film, he was discovered by the mayor of Vienna and is now honorary citizen of the city of Vienna. And he was very covered by the main news when we really had a lot of new admissions after this. And I think nowadays you really have to be very creative. And when I watch this film, for example, because I think it's a lot of luck in life. I never studied film, and I somehow since 20 years I'm only making different projects in this field. So yes, but you have to have imagination. And for example, in your case, when I would try this film in Vienna, I would, for example, go the way that I would attract grandparents and grandchildren to the cinema, because when I was a child, I went to circus with my grandparents, and I would schedule a kind of family cinema on a Sunday or Saturday, and I would encourage rather grandparents to take their youngest grandchildren to the cinema, and maybe this would be this approach, like remembering the great moments for both of them. Yes, and I think for now, you have to really try to get a good press coverage. This is also, and of course, festival, as you mentioned, play a huge role, because a lot of festival programmers have a look what is going on, who gets awards, and you had a you got this beautiful award at the Berlinale generation. So I guess it helped a lot that this film started to circulate over in all the world. Yes.
Yeah, that's something I wonder, because you have also been at 50 festivals with the film. You got industry recognition, I can imagine. Did that convert into audience numbers, into admissions, into conversation amongst the young audience? Did you manage to measure this somehow?
Well, I mean, in Germany, yes, because as people also know the circus that is still doing their normal circus tournée, so people know the circus, so they realize there's a film about them, or people come to the circus because they saw the film. So there starts to be a discussion around it, but as there's no theatrical release outside Germany so far, it's just admissions and festivals, but that counts as well. I mean, those are actually also in Germany where we can, through our distributor, count the admissions. Festivals are also admissions. It's people coming to the cinema, and the school weeks where the schools can book the film and the teachers bring their classes. It really is a count, like it's a notable number of people watching the film. I mean, they have a reduced entrance fee, so box office wise it's less attractive, but we are like very philanthropic filmmakers working for a young audience, so we're still happy for the numbers. And that translates as well. I mean, the educational distribution counts. It is an actual distribution with admissions.
And you just shared an article that also the numbers of the admissions and the revenue of the cinemas with youth cinema is actually quite important part, and it really matters. And I think that's also coming to the questions if the young audience is taken seriously, not only by the film industry people, but also by the whole infrastructure and by the cinema or the industry. So maybe we can talk about this, because Radka, I remember our prep talk setting a bit that you said, hey, we need to take them seriously. Maybe you can elaborate a bit on this.
Yeah, so that from my experiences, like when I'm talking to someone from the film industry, or when I'm talking to someone from the educational system or like teachers, and we start to talk about films for youth or like young audiences, so they are like, oh, okay, these are these didactic films that they have to learn something from it, and then they should be like this, and doesn't have to be, it cannot be like very difficult. Of course, no alcohol, no sex, no drugs, nothing that they experience in their daily life, let's say, is there. Nothing like no drama, anything like this. And if so, that you have the film like for 13 years old, let's say, that the main character is 10 years old, so they will be for sure like interested in like younger child. Of course not. I mean, like that, they are like from the young age that even like the mini kids that we are working with, like 3+, that they have to be taken seriously because they understand it, they can discuss it, they can like very quickly develop the critical thinking through the films and discussions and the whole like film education system, if it's like good, and if we would like think about it in this way, like not to underestimate the young audiences, like challenge them. Of course, it's also difficult like from the curator point of view, especially like with short films, for example, that you have a program of 5 or 6 short films in one program, and not all of them have to be like challenging and depressive and everything, but it's also very difficult to find like good comedies or like feel-good films that are also like very well made and are not didactics and like tick all these boxes to like show them high quality cinema. So then they can really grow to this audience that will appreciate like good films, basically.
Yeah, and that's also something I maybe want to share, me being an audience designer myself, working with a lot of writer directors and producers on developing audience strategies for films from an early stage on, late development usually. I think it can be highly rewarding when you think about your audience and when you identify them and when you give them a face and a name and you work with personas and you really try to dive deep into who do I actually want to reach, and then even seeing these people and interviewing these people and then seeing how films can actually connect to audiences. And I think that's probably the goal of every creative and artist, to really create this resonance and this impact. And let me share a tiny little story of a project I was part of. It's a documentary film from a Berlin-based filmmaker called Lorraine Blumenthal. She's just releasing her film called Im Osten was Neues, Changing Sides. It's about an ex-neo-Nazi who is now a soccer trainer for refugees. And she is traveling so much with this film, going into the smallest town and does local screenings with panel discussions where she really connects to the local scene. That can be activists, but that can also be the general audience who is so happy about having her there, having the protagonist there. And more there was this communication about this film and around it, and people became interesting. And it really happened that an influencer who is into politics and culture said, hey, I want to help your protagonist because it's also about him not getting a job from the city council. Now they started a crowdfunding campaign, and now they reached up to 70,000 euros on GoFundMe to actually change the guy's life. And I just want to give that as an example happening right now. So you can go on GoFundMe and can also do a tiny donation, just to give you a sign of, if we have a clear understanding what our story is about, why our audience is needed, how you can support the project and the protagonist, it can really make a difference. And I think that's something we also need to have in as part of our strategy and of our strategic thinking. The time is running out, so we have a question there in the audience. So maybe we can pass on a microphone to the audience. Would you be so, or you speak up? You can shout, okay. But I think there's also a microphone coming if you want to have it more comfortable. Maybe you can give us a sentence who you are, what you're doing in the film industry, if even. It's not working? you want to take mine? Or?
Hello, my name is Juliana Horvatova. I'm creative producer.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for Katharina, first one. I was not able to grasp the theme or the dilemma of your movie, but I, of course, a little shame, but I was interested when you decide that you want to shoot this movie for kids. If you were deciding just to do observation movie, or you picked the dilemma, or you saw some dilemma in the movie, is there some kind of advices for the kids that you had in mind when you were creating the movie?
You mean, we started to develop the project really from the idea which world could be interesting for kids, because we really wanted not, like if you define young audience from 12, this film is from 8 to 12. So it's really for young, it's for kids. We are more tackling it from the 1st grade to 4th grade in the German school system, where I think it works best, just before you are, like, as long as family is your main point of relation. So we were thinking, like, what can we offer for kids that want to see films? What can we do in the documentary world? So we started to casting worlds that we think could be interesting. So we developed the whole project without having this family that we did the film about. And I can just sum up what the film is about. I'm sorry you were not able to see the trailer. It's about Santino. He's an 11-year-old boy growing up in the circus with his younger brother and 5 cousins. And they live on the circus place with 4 generations. So it's the parents, grandparents, and the grand-grandfather, which is here the guy you saw at the end. It's the grand-grandfather. And they all live together in the circus. They are all working in their circus that has a 8-generation tradition. And they travel throughout entire Germany from north to south, east, west, and also have some guest shows in Paris or elsewhere. So it's a traveling family. They don't have a based home, and it's really from inside the circus daily life that we are showing the kids' life in a circus family, growing up with changing schools every 2nd week, for example. So we decided that circus is an interesting narration, an interesting world that we want to dive in, and we developed the whole project without having this family, because we first did a lot of research for over a year, collecting stories and potential protagonists, so we knew what we could get. And then we wanted to have the perfect family that is like where the circus is doing so well, they are not below the existential minimum. We wanted them to have several generations on the place. So we really started scouting and casting the family we had in mind and on our papers. And fortunately, we were already funded before we found them, so we could just start 2 weeks later, because they are also, it's a subculture, or how do you say, it's a different culture. They are very suspicious against people like us living in homes. For them, it's like nothing you can relate to easily. They don't trust us. So if we had said, like, maybe we come in a year shooting a documentary for another year, we would never been taken seriously. So that was something we really started to, like, it was a long process, and it turned out just to be good in the way it was, because of, like, having the backing of a financing for a project. So it was scouting and getting the ideas first. Yeah.
So is there some bigger conflict in the movie, or it's like...
I mean, for me, documentaries bear, like, it's people's lives that are full of questions and approaches, and what can I do? Who am I? Like, there's my grandpa, he has all those interesting stories of his life, and who am I? I'm 11, what should I do? And it starts with the grandpa saying, so my boy, you're turning 11 now, it's about time that you take a decision what you want to bring to our family, because in our family everybody has a role to play. So that is, but we don't count on big dramaturgy. For me, this is the beauty in documentary storytelling. It's so over-dramatized, in my opinion, that commercial family films. So we want to have a counterpart because kids don't need that much suspense, artificial suspense. Real life is so interesting. So that was our approach and our goal. Yeah, sorry, talking so long.
No, thank you very much.
No, thank you. You want to add something, Magda? I think then we need to wrap up, unfortunately.
I would like to add something because it's. I wanted to say that talking about great films and innovative ways to reaching the audience, I have to mention KineDok project because this is so beautiful project when brings great films to the towns and places where there is no cinema, and they had this wonderful handbook which I also experienced the presentation here. So yes, it's also our collaboration project partner, and yeah, I would recommend to everyone to check this project. I guess all of you probably know it, but yeah, I wanted to mention it and just to thank you for the spirit.
Absolutely, and I think what's also interesting, I don't know if the projector is working, I doubt it a bit, but we were collecting a few resources for you to do further research for those of you who are interested in learning and looking at researches and stuff. So there is an open document we are happy to share. Actually, there was supposed to be a QR code now for you to scan, but we will send it via social media, via email or whatsoever, for you also to join the process, because I think we are all in this learning, experiencing, trying out, trying, failing, sharing what worked process. And that's, I think, my closing question of what keeps each of you or us running throughout our working life, what keeps keeps you optimistic and following this whole process of exploring and being curious in this field. Do you want to start, Katharina?
Yeah, for me it's something that so often we talk about the market. What does the market want? What can we do? What can we produce? Where do we get the money for our stuff? And for me, it's like I'm interested in stories when I feel the market is not there. It's missing in the market. There's a hole where I feel there's a need for something, and then I'm more motivated because it's not because the market wants it, it's because I feel the market needs that. And that is a bit the pioneer approach, but I love that. And then if then you can prove your point in making this work, then you have an example in the market where people can also jump on. So that is something, it's my little challenge that I give myself what I want to bring to the market. Yeah.
It's beautiful, thank you. Do you want to share something?
Yeah, for me, it's I would say two things or two parts. That one is connecting the industry players that wouldn't really meet in some other occasion, but when I invite them and make a program with them, then they can learn from each other and also share experiences and start some new collaborations. So that's one thing industry-wise. And the other, which is more important for me personally, is the direct feedback of the young audiences. That's something when they are younger, it's always super honest and great. And even if they don't like the films, even if they are bored, whatever, so that the feedback, what they are giving in the discussions and how they experience the whole process of watching films, meeting friends, discussing films, building the arguments, having the opinions. That's just beautiful in the way that you see that something is going on there.
What about you?
I have two things, to be honest. One is, of course, people in the cinema, the audience like you. It's the best motivation, no matter from which perspective you watch at it, as a filmmaker or as a cinema manager. And the second one are people you work with that are around you. I have a great luck that I've been working with people, with some or half of my team more than 15 years already. And when I asked our chief editor to write very short summaries about every of team members for the new website, she summarized me, without Magdalena, our lives would be really boring. So it was the best, the best proof and compliment for me that that we make a little bit change, and the world is like more funny and more challenging, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I believe us being in this together, communicating, sharing stuff, also discussing and being in conversation, seeing each other, being respectful and creating safe spaces with each other, I think it's it's really important in these challenging times. So thank you so much for your time, for your energy, for your honest and very specific informations. We are still here. We are all approachable, so please come and talk to us. We are also on social media, and you can reach us when you have further questions or you want to collaborate. And thanks to the audience for your time, and we hope you have a nice evening, and see you soon.